And it is my honor today to introduce a guy named Scott Fardulis, who is a personal friend that I met about 3 years ago. And we had a discussion, and he went on to become one of the largest voices in longevity history. In 3 short years, this guy, the first year he was with us, he became the Rookie of the Year, and last year he was the Trainer of the Year. He's a family man. He's a dad. He helps people of need. He is a man who goes to church. Everything about Scott Fardulis just resonates goodness. So I urge you to listen to him hard about how you are going to fulfill your legacy in longevity. Take it away, Scott.
Tom, thank you so much. I always enjoy the opportunity to share this powerful message with people. And anytime I get to be around you or do that with you, it's always an honor. And you have built me up and lifted me up so many times in my life over the last few years. I could never thank you enough. So I appreciate the introduction. And folks, if you are just tuning in to this webinar right now, I just encourage you to sit back and relax, but absolutely pay attention, because I believe that what we're going to share together over the next short period of time is literally going to rock your world in a number of different ways. So today, I want to give you some hope. Today, I want to give you some encouragement that will inspire you to have the very best, most extraordinary life that you can possibly have. You see, I believe that my life is almost identical to yours. It doesn't mean that we've walked the same paths in life. However, we have the same emotions, the same reasons to celebrate and get excited, the same reasons to cry and to feel hopeless at time to time. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is our thought processes, our beliefs, our attitudes, and our behaviors. I grew up in a wonderful home. It wasn't a perfect home. It was a wonderful home. And the thing that made my home wonderful as a kid is that my parents loved me, and I knew that they loved me, and they knew that I loved them. And they always led me to believe that I could do anything in my life that I could possibly imagine. And so I took that inspiration from my parents, and I went out into the world just like everybody else, and I made some great efforts, and I failed, and I made some other great efforts, and I've succeeded. And it wasn't until my late teens in life when I had a major epiphany. And as I looked around, I noticed that we live in this society where so many people were working really, really hard. And it's not that the hard part caught my attention, it's that they worked hard all their life. And it started to trouble me that I was on that same path, thinking I was going to college to get a degree in aviation and business administration and to study so that I could go out into the job world like everyone else. And it made me very, very nervous to look around and realize that so many people were spending the very best of their years building up somebody else's dream instead of living their own. So you see, the epiphany that I had started there, and I started to narrow it down into 3 categories as I evaluated closer that everybody in this world wants, regardless of age, background, race, education, gender, etc. We all want these 3 things. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you agree with me when I say this? So pay attention here. Number 1, as long as we feel as good as we can and have the best of our physical health, we have a lot to live for. And if we have great financial health as well, we have a lot more to live for. And third, when we own the best of our health and we own the best of our financial health, then and then only we can own our time. Now think about that just for a second. The value of owning your time. How beautiful is that? I just had lunch today with a really good friend of mine, and I asked him, I said, how's life going for you? And he goes, you know what, Scott, it's going so well. And I said, tell me about it. Tell me why your life is going so well. And I leaned forward and I listened intently, and I heard the same story from him with his experience that I hear from everybody else. What he wanted to do is tell me how great his family was, which is not unusual. I love it when people tell me how great their family is. He told me about his wife and his newborn son and how amazing they were, and he loved to spend time with them. And I said, and what else? And he goes, well, you know, I'm working about, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, sometimes 7 days a week. And I sat there listening to that, and it made my stomach churn. And I didn't lead on that my stomach was churning for him, but I was like, oh, here's another great guy that's totally missing the boat. How do you love your wife as much as that and love your newborn son as much as this man does, and then sit there and say that life is great because he's working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Folks, it's time for me and you to sit back just for a second and realize, what is it that we want more than anything in this world? Let me share a couple of thoughts with you, and these don't have to be your thoughts, they're just my thoughts. I just want you to think a little bit outside the normal box. Here's my priorities, and tell me if they make any sense to you or not. You may not think or believe the same way I do, but I put my faith at the top of this list. I put my wife at the top of this list. I put my children at the top of this list. I put my health at the top of this list, and I put my finances at the top of my priority list. How well would we be doing if we really paid attention to our priorities and fought really hard, working hard like everyone else? However, why don't I invite you to put the word SMART on the end of working hard? So let's talk about that for a second. Right here in front of you, you've got something on your screen. You can see my screen, and it says Youngevity Business Presentation. Sometimes I don't like the formality of business and presentation going together. We're just going to talk about a powerful story today, and the story begins with the concept of Youngevity, and it goes like this. We have this thing called the 40-year plan. So if you're like me, and I'm pretty sure you're close, you grew up believing that education somewhere along the line played a pivotal role in your human development. And listen, I'm all for education, but here's what I'm not so much for anymore. I'm not for this statistic. So they took every person in America and they did this survey called What Happens to People by the Time They Reach the Age of 65. And we think in percentages, so they broke it up into pods of people clumped as every 100. So for every 100 people that reach the age of 65, here's what is the outcome. One person out of every 100 will reach what we call wealth. And let's just say that for now, the definition of wealth is having something greater than you need. So you have more than you need, that makes you wealthy. Well, another 4 people end up being financially stable. What does that mean? Well, financially stable, at least in part, means that you're paying your bills and you're getting by. Well, let's continue. So the next group of people, the 5%ers, they're the folks that reach 65 and say, are you kidding me? How did I get here? How did I end up in this place? Where did all that time go? And my goodness, so quickly. And now I'm supposed to retire? How do I squeeze my income from the salary I used to make down to 401ks and pension plans and Social Security checks? It's just a fraction of what you used to be comfortable living on. And so the conclusion for this group is, I have to still be working. Slowing down is not an option. And do you really want to have to work harder by the time you're supposed to be slowing down? I don't think so. But here's probably an alarming statistic for all of us. 28 out of every 100 people never even reach their 65th birthday. Of course, that's sad. But here's the saddest statistic of all. You've lived, and yet you haven't really lived. Because at the end of your life, when you're supposed to be enjoying the fruits of your labor and what we would all call the golden years, 62% of the people end up not just broke, dead broke. What does that mean? It means that typically we're dependent on friends and family and the federal government for our very existence, and we have no certainties whatsoever about what tomorrow looks like. Well, I know. So what are the options after that? Well, here's all the options that we could come up with. Working more hours, considering investment opportunities, waiting for inheritances, possibly getting lucky and playing the lottery. As ridiculous as all those sound, most people resort to options just like this on your screen. So in essence, for every 95 out of 100 people, here's what we can conclude. 95 for every 100 people work so hard, toiling, laboring, sweating, bleeding under their fingernails to make the other 5 people comfortable. Does that even sound right to you? It doesn't to me, but hey, I'm not the judge here. I'm just sharing information. So the bottom line, people work so hard their lives and they're building someone else's financial future instead of figuring out what it would take to build their own. So what I want to share with you is this, and as Tom so kindly put it earlier, my wife and I have absolutely been blessed. Again, please don't get me wrong. We've not had a perfect life. Far from it, as a matter of fact. However, our objective was to do the very best that we could with the end goal being owning our time. And I'll tell you, this isn't one of the stories that I'm sharing with you about our life where for the last 20 or 30 years, we finally made it. Folks, listen, we came out of the ashes just a few years ago. And if you heard what Tom said about us so kindly just a few minutes ago, we're not living there anymore. We have control of our time. We do things that most people wish they could do, and then they have the audacity to say we're lucky. Listen, success is far from being lucky. It's working just as hard as everybody else with a strategic plan implemented, which I call working smart. And if you know what you're doing and you're doing it with the right people and you exercise the right activities with the right mentorship, then I'll say this, magic occurs. And we're talking about a 2 to 5 year plan. So here's all I want to suggest. If you'll take your busy schedule and recognize that you could run a parallel process, or let's just call it a plan B, or maybe even an X strategy simultaneously to everything else you've got going on right now, I want you to do this. Think about your age, and then think about how old you'll be 2 years from now, and then think about the feeling you'll have when you don't have to do anything else in life that you don't want to do. So before I go any further, let me share a personal definition of freedom with you. Freedom is the ability to do anything you want, anytime you want, with anybody you choose because you want to, not because you have to. Now, how do those apples grab you? I love that definition of freedom. I've been reciting that definition to myself for so many years that I've stopped counting. And you know what? I believed it, and it absolutely came true. What do you believe? Do you believe, as you look at your screen right now, that you could implement something as we're talking about right now and that you could be free in 5 years? Be careful, because whatever you think is absolutely true. Whatever you believe is absolutely true. I'm not able to want something more for you than you want for yourself. So if you're a glass half full type of person, I encourage you to start looking at that glass a little bit differently. Start reminding yourself that life can be as good as you want it to be. Start believing that if you follow people that have the things in life that you want most for you and for your family, that they can happen for you too. Because after all, success can, in fact, be a copycat business. Well, speaking of copycat businesses, look at this here in front of you. Most businesses have a lot of risk. They have a lot of limitations, including income and territories. You might have to deal with headaches like employees or bosses, but we're not talking about any of those things today. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about exactly the opposite as a traditional business. So what I want to do right now is I want to welcome you to the Youngevity family. In advance, I want to say thank you for making the best and greatest decision, in my opinion, that you could ever have made up to this point for you and your family from a business standpoint. So let me tell you our story real quickly, because it's fascinating. It's actually beyond fascinating. It's just a couple of decades ago, there was a man named Dr. Joel Wallach that founded Youngevity. And it wasn't any normal, typical situation on which he laid the foundation for this company. He grew up on a farm in Missouri, and in his early teen years, he asked his father, why is it that growing up on a farm and having agriculture and livestock at our fingertips, why is it that for the most part, animals seem to be so well and humans seem to struggle all the time with their health? And his dad encouraged him to go to medical school and find out the answer. Go figure it out. Go find the answer to this ageless question. And that's exactly what Dr. Wallach did. He graduated as a veterinarian doctor, and he ended up on a television show called Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with an amazing man named Marlin Perkins. Do you remember that guy? Are you old enough to remember the show Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom? If you're not, I know your parents did. And that show was so fascinating. I used to watch that show as a kid, and I'd snuggle up every evening in front of the black and white television, and I'd watch Dr. Wallach and Marlin Perkins fascinate the audience looking through that screen with exotic animals and all the history and research and interesting facts and findings that there were to be discovered. And boy, was that a wonderful time. Here's what's really amazing. What most people don't know about Dr. Wallach is that he spent all of that time not just entertaining people with all the amazing things of the animal kingdom. He was actually looking for science, and he was looking for clues, and he was looking for assurances to that question he had as a kid, and he got answers. You see, after thousands and thousands of autopsies on humans as well as animals, Dr. Wallach came to a conclusion. He concluded, and look closely to the middle of your screen because you'll see this is the bullseye of who we are today. He concluded that there are 90 essential nutrients that you and I must have every day of our lives to be healthy. And when we don't get those 90 essential nutrients, we break down, and we break down fast, and sometimes we don't come back so easily. So do we want to break down? No. But at the end of the day, we simply don't get the nutrients that we need anymore in our food, and it makes it all the more likely and understandable that it's really, really difficult and more difficult every day to have a healthy life. So that's the story of our company. Dr. Wallach, his background, he sued the FDA 7 times and came out victorious for the right to talk about how nutrition has an incredible impact on your health and my health. And that's how we began. The story begins. From there, over the last 18 years, we have grown into this enormous family of brands, doing business all over the globe today in so many countries. I don't even know how many it is as I speak, but I do know that we're captivating audiences everywhere we go, all over the globe. And you can look at the outer wheel of this target. So the bullseye is 90 for life, the 90 essential nutrients. And with health and wellness, personal care, food, beverage, humanitarian, giving back, acts of kindness, home and family. Look at the side screen here, folks. We're talking about things, items, niches, branding that you already have determined make your life much more easy to live if you implement these topics into your life. Let me just highlight a couple. And not that I'm picking on anything, I just want you to see how diverse and eclectic Youngevity has become over the years. I mean, I know that all of us have a light switch, and we use modern day appliances like microwaves and refrigeration and lighting so we can see better. I know that. So rather than letting the local energy company capitalize on all of the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that are spent on this niche, how about you and I capitalize on it? More on that in a second. Let's jump to the other quadrant. How about coffee? Now, I don't know if it's the second or third leading beverage consumed all over the world, but it's got to be up in the couple of a few. So whether you drink coffee or not, how many coffee shops exist on every street corner in every town of every city in every nation? Because people like coffee. Whether you and I drink it or not is not the point. We decided to capitalize on it, and that's what we do today. We own large plantations down in Nicaragua, and we produce our own coffee, and we ship it globally. Let's go to another quadrant. How about jewelry? Now, listen, I know I'm a guy, and if you're a guy listening to this, you're probably not as excited about jewelry as maybe your wife might be, for example. But I do know this, it's a huge industry. And when you walk down the street, it's not just every woman anymore. It's almost every woman and every man has jewelry someplace on their body. Listen, we're capitalizing on that industry or that niche as well. Let's jump to another quadrant. How about let's just pick weight loss. Today, it's estimated that roughly 7 out of 10 people are obese or overweight. And folks, with diabetes on the rise and heart disease on the rise and many other issues that stem off of the topic of obesity, it's time for us to recognize that there is a challenge and we have a solution. And rather than waiting for other people to do it, let's capitalize on it. So, a little history and a little background helps us make sense of the rest of the story. In the upper left-hand corner, here's a picture of our corporate headquarters, which is our mothership, if you will, out of San Diego, California. So that's where the magic happens. That's where it all began many years ago. And today, we are a publicly traded company. We started in 1997. You can track us through the stock exchange. Our ticker symbol is YGYI. Notice in the middle of your screen, we have 4 different corporate headquarters strategically placed all across the nation, and now we're branching out with strategic headquarters on the international market as well. Most recently, we opened our headquarters in New Zealand, our brand new office space there, and here we're opening up Singapore as well. So you're about to see a comma on the end of this with Singapore being mentioned, and then notice the story that goes clockwise. Here's a picture of our president, Bill Andreoli. Mary Lou Henner, some of you know her as an actress, a spokesperson, an author, a public figure and speaker. Most importantly, she's one of the most positive people I've ever met, and I love her statement that, in my mind anyways, has made her famous. She says, life is hard. All work is hard. Anything that has value is just flat out hard work. And she says, choose your hard. See, some people work the kind of hard where the hard never comes to an end. other people smart hard, like I was referring to earlier, and the hard that you think of being hard, it eventually comes to an end. That's what you want. And she made that so clear the first time I heard her speak. I've never forgotten those words. Here's Dr. Wallach in the middle of this picture. This is the man, the legend, the people that we respect and we admire so much because in his late 70s, he has laid down his life for you and me to make the point and to educate and show and demonstrate that simple things like having the right nutrition coursing through our veins will give our bodies the ability to take care of itself, restore, and just give us the best shot at avoiding what makes most people nervous from a health standpoint. To his right is Michelle Wallach, the COO of the company, and we have Steve Wallach. Steve Wallach is the CEO. He's also Dr. Wallach's son. On the right, this is showing you that we know how to celebrate. We know how to have a great time. Every year, we go on a cruise, and we don't know where the cruise is going, but it's someplace fun, and it's someplace family-oriented, and it's a place for us to party, kick back, laugh, build on our friendships and our relationships, and recharge the batteries. And we expect you to be on the next cruise, and you can find out more information so you don't miss that cruise. So again, here's a close-up of Mary Lou Henner, and these folks across the bottom row, these are just some of our amazing celebrity brand ambassadors. Now, these folks are individuals that have taken their experiences and their history and their relationship with Youngevity, and they have taken their pedestal and platform and put that message out there for all the world to hear. And by the way, these folks have some pretty big platforms, and therefore all the world is not just hearing, they've now heard. So we have NBA basketball players, professional football players, we have authors, we have sports broadcasting announcers, fitness coaches, and personal development individuals for professional companies and franchises and sporting teams. We have all natural bodybuilders and so many more people that have taken the media and the nation by storm with their reputation. That's a little bit more about our story. But before we continue, I just want you to be sure that you absolutely know this man, the founder, the legend in the health and nutrition industry, Dr. Joel Wallach. He's a friend of mine. I'm not going to get into the story now, but sometime when you and I meet, come find me and say, how exactly was it that Dr. Wallach saved your life? And I love to tell that story. I'm just not going to take the time to do it now, but I owe this man my life, just like I owe Tom my life for reaching out his hand in a time of need for me and giving me a hand up instead of a hand out. That's who Dr. Wallach is to me as well. This is the man I grew up watching on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom when I was a kid. Today, he's the author of one of the most successful books of all times called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. If you've heard of it, that's one thing. It's another thing when you choose to read it. When you read his book or listen to the abridged CD, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, in the interview, it will leave you speechless and your jaw will be dropped because you'll know more then than you think you know now. And folks, that's why my respect is out there for Dr. Wallach. And he's just smart enough to know that he is not able to take on this mission all by himself. Look at these names. Look at these faces. Look at the titles with their names. These are people with serious, respectable, admirable track records. And we're not talking about one niche of medical professionalism. We're talking about all niches of medical professionalism. These are the individuals that have locked arms with Dr. Wallach, and we're taking this message forward. And it's important because of statistics like this. I mean, for goodness sakes, when was the last time they announced a cure to, I don't know, any disease? Think about it for a second. When was the last time? And then think about how many billions of dollars you and I and our neighbors and people down the street and our churches and other organizations have donated in good faith and goodwill to get some good news. I don't remember any good news lately about anything related to disease or healthcare. Last I checked, there were more treatment centers than ever going up and being built in our backyards, and there's a lot of money in treating people for disease. And last time I also checked, there was nothing to be made when it came to curing or eliminating or reversing disease. So that's just one of those things that makes you go, and scratch your head and make you think a little bit deeper. Look at the statistics, though. I don't think you and I want to be subject, with all the money we spend as a nation, to being way down the list when it comes to good health. No, we want to do the exact opposite. But here's what we've got to understand. When Dr. Wallach goes to the great lengths that he has to study and to research and come up with the science that you and I are able to depend on today, going head-to-head with the FDA and other organizations that have attempted to their very best to squash this good news for the sake of the dollar bill. We must open our ears and our eyes to the truth. Here's what Dr. Wallach had to say. It's not what we're eating that's killing us. It's what we're not eating that's killing us. And it's the 90 for life message. The 90 essential nutrients in our bodies is what you and I need. He says every disease is linked to a mineral deficiency. A mineral deficiency. Wow. It's so simple. So why is it so complicated to come up with the right nutrition for us to be healthy? It's another good question to ask. And I know you're probably like me again. We do shop already at Whole Foods Market, or at least the natural or organic section of the grocery store we currently shop from, maybe Vitamin Cottage and some of the other big stores like Sprouts, etc., because we want to do our best to be responsible and get the best nutrition that we can that our money will buy into our children and into ourselves so we can live a long time. Well, that might be a little more wishful thinking than you and I have time to react to. So here's how we help people get the 90 essential nutrients into their bodies. It goes like this. Here's 3 products. Now keep in mind, we have a lot of products. I don't know how to define a lot. It's a lot, like a whole lot. All those niches that I showed you earlier on the Target wheel, that's a lot of things. And so what I want you to start thinking about right now is the ability for you to switch your loyalties and your allegiances to the best of your ability from where you have been shopping to Youngevity. And even though that list can be very, very long for what those conveniences will equate to, I just want to focus for a second on 3 products. These are the 3 products that equal our 90 for life system. And again, if you don't have your health, you don't have a lot. And so that's why we talk about the 90 for life program as deeply as we do. Look at the canister on the left, Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I love this product. It's got so many fruits and vegetables, minerals, vitamins, all the nutrition that you and I need per Dr. Wallach inside of a couple of scoops daily into a water glass or a shaker cup. That's all you do. Screw out the lid, couple of scoops in a shaker cup, mix it up, and then sip it throughout the course of the day. Believe me, you will be thanked by yourself when you feel and experience what happens when you give your body the right fuel in the form of Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Look at the bottle in the middle of your screen. It's essential fatty acids. That's what EFA Plus is, essential fatty acids. So what's in there? You take off the lid and you put 3 at a time, 3 little gel caps, 3 essential fatty acid gel caps. Those are your omega oils. You put those in your hand, take a glass of water or your Beyond Tangy Tangerine and swallow those every single day. It's good for your mind. It's good for your thinking ability. It's good in so many ways. I know that people don't want dementia and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, to name a few. Your essential fatty acids are paramount for good health. Look at the canister to the far right of your screen. It's called Beyond Osteo FX Plus. It's a powder. It also comes in a liquid. Now, I personally prefer the liquid, and I'll just take that bottle and I'll shake it up and I'll unscrew that green cap on the top. It's a 1-ounce cap, and every day I just pour 1 ounce full, which is a cap full of the Beyond Osteo FX Plus, and I drink it every day. Why? It's good for my bones, my joints, my tendons, my ligaments, and the cartilage that makes up my skeletal structural system. All of those things, and these 3 products combined, is how you get the 90 essential nutrients every day of your life for the rest of your life into your body. Well, let's go on. I know some of you right now are thinking, well, Scott, you know, I just love what I've been taking for so many years, and do I have to switch? Hey, listen, it's America. You really don't have to do anything unless you want to. And so I just encourage you right now to not block your haunches down and think that you're rooted into anything. Be willing to change. Be open-minded. Understand that sometimes new information presents itself every day, and it's up to me and you as intelligent people to recognize what reality is and what's in our best interest. So let me just point this out. Most supplements are not able to be broken down or processed very easily, and so they might be about 10% absorbable. We use plant-derived minerals that comes from humic shale. We own all this land in the upper left-hand and lower left-hand corner of your screen in the mountains of Utah, and it's basically fossilized swampland, plant-derived minerals embedded in humic shale, And that's where our nutritional value comes from in the form of minerals. And you know what that means for me and you? It means about 98% absorption. And keep this in mind. We aren't what we eat. We are what we absorb. So that's really, really key. Well, hey, listen, there's another analogy here I want you to think about. Have you ever heard of that series called Something for Dummies? In other words, change out the word something for a specific title, like maybe deck building or auto mechanics or mathematics, to name a few examples. These are some of the titles of that book series, Something for Dummies. I love that book series because there's so many times in my life where I felt inadequate or not capable of pulling something off, and that book series made me feel like king of the hill. Well, Dr. Wallach uses the same philosophy here when it comes to what we call our healthy body packs. When it comes to health and nutrition, the medical industry as a whole, and all the information that's constantly floating around, let's face it, it can be anything, including overwhelming. And I know that's how I feel so much of the time. How do we know what's right? And how do we know who should we listen to and pay attention to? So Dr. Wallach made it real simple. And just keep this in mind, nobody's like Dr. Wallach. People use his science, they leverage his research, they key on the credibility of all of his findings and his autopsies and the books that he's written, like Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and others that he's authored along with his wife, Malan. That stuff is all over the marketplace with a lot of credibility coming his way, and people leverage it all the time. He doesn't want for a second for you and I to think that we have to become as knowledgeable or wise or understanding as he is with all of his experience. So he creates a system very similar to Something for Dummies with the nutrition concept. Notice the three commonalities in each of these healthy body packs. The first three products are identical. It's the three products that make up the 90 essential nutrients. No matter what, you need the 90 essential nutrients if you want to give yourself the best shot at an extraordinary physical, healthy lifestyle. So look at the titles. You don't have to wonder by the title. This is the theory of Something for Dummies. So you look at the titles and you go, wow, there's like 900 diseases out there. Dr. Wallach talks about having eliminated all those diseases in exotic animals, and if it's good enough for them, it's got to be good enough for me. So look at that weight loss pack. People that take that weight loss pack, they report having lost anywhere from a half a pound to a couple pounds a day by following this system. How about the athletic pack? What's that all about? Hey, not too long ago, I had a good friend of mine in his 30s, fit as could be, triathlete. He looked like a fine chiseled specimen, rode his bike every day to work, constantly running, staying in shape, lifting weights, doing aerobics, you name it. He was the specimen that we all wanted to be. Not long ago, he was riding his bike to work, happy man, family, children, successful attorney in town, dropped dead on his bicycle from a heart attack. Witnesses said they just saw him passing by, looked like a normal day and a normal guy on a normal bike, and all of a sudden he hit the pavement. And when they went over, they discovered he was no longer breathing. Folks, I don't have all the answers to health and all the answers to life, but I trust that Dr. Wallach is that person for me and for you. So when he says that athletes die first, his explanation is something like this. We spend most of our life as athletes sweating good nutrition, nutrients and minerals, etc., right out of the pores of our skin, otherwise known as sweat, and we don't put them back in appropriately. We're not putting supplements that we need back into our body. We drink water, we drink Gatorade, we drink Powerade, and all the horrible energy drinks on the market because athletes have told us that that's the cool thing to do. But they end up, according to Dr. Wallach, dead first. How about digestion? How many issues fall into the digestion category? A lot. This pack is for you if you've had trouble with any forms of digestion. Drop down to the lower right-hand corner of your screen, the brain and heart pack. One of the leading causes of death in this nation and in quite fact around the world today is brain and heart issues, heart attacks, cardiovascular disease. These are big topics today that scare the bejeebies off of most people. If you want to give yourself the best fighting chance of having healthy valves, healthy veins, a healthy heart, a healthy brain, healthy blood flow, the brain and heart pack is for you. Lower middle section, bone and joint pack. Most people, according to Dr. Wallach, will ultimately live up ending a life of pain. Arthritis is not something that you and I want to mess around with. It causes people a lot of agony and a lot of misery and a lot of discomfort. The bone and joint pack is extremely powerful, and most people need it, and they need it sooner than they think. It's better to be proactive than reactive. How about the blood sugar pack? Do you know that in the top 10 lists of reasons for death, blood sugar issues in the form of diabetes is on that list. This is not a subject that you and I want to think about happening to you and me. However, I'll tell you, if you paid attention to the slide I just showed you, you saw that roughly 1 in 3 people today are either diabetic or pre-diabetic, and it's no joking matter. If you know someone or yourself or have a loved one in your life that's struggling with this issue, I could not begin to count the number of times I've seen people in this blood sugar pack end up living a normal, healthy life because they got their blood sugar back to where normal is considered to be, without drugs, without prescriptions, and without all the other things that can come along with that category. Let's move on. Well, here's a few people. As if seeing isn't believing, here are the people from the Healthy Body Weight Loss Pack that have won contest and won contest and won contest year after year from the Healthy Body Weight Loss Pack. It can happen for you too. You just have to follow the plan. Well, we've spent a lot of time talking about the importance of our health and nutrition and the story of Youngevity. And Dr. Wallach, as we wrap up this section here, I just want to remind you, we want everyone to take the Healthy Body Challenge. Take the challenge. Set a personal goal. Let's not get lazy. Let's rise up and say, we deserve to feel great and to own our health. Let's set some goals around what that looks like for ourselves, and let's choose the right pack to be on, because people are going to ask, how did you do that? Why do you act differently? What is it about you that's a little bit different for you? And you're going to get to tell them a story. That's what we mean by telling everybody. So that concludes the first side of the coin. And we all know every coin has two sides. So if this side of the coin was representing tails, for example, which was the physical health side of the coin, let's talk about the other side of the coin, the head side of the coin that's labeled your financial health. Let's talk about financial health for just a second. So I'm going to be really vulnerable here for just a few minutes, because sometimes we hear information and we're like, yeah, well, you know, of course it can work for them, or maybe this is just what they're telling everybody to do, but the person speaking actually did something different. I want you to know that I would never ask anybody to do something that I haven't done or am not willing to do myself. Today, we have what we call the CEO Mega Pack. Now, before I go into the CEO Mega Pack, and I know your eyes are moving around the screen and you're reading all the bullets faster than I can explain them, I want you to ask yourself a question. Now, this is a fair question, so don't take it personally, but go with the process here and stick with me. Don't glaze over right now. Stick with me. This is important. Have you ever in your life spent $500 on something before? Think about it carefully. And I know the answer is, of course, we've all spent $500 on something before. Things in this world cost a lot of money. Nothing seems to be cheap anymore. There's always a hefty price tag on things that seem to have value to them, whether it's clothing, wardrobe issues, automobile topics, housing projects, technology issues, flat screen TVs, laptops, bicycle exercise equipment, technology in the form of phones, smartphones, all the voice gadgetry that's out there today that's making life a lot easier to communicate. It is phenomenal what you and I decide to spend our money on. But here's the ultimate question. When you spent at least that $500, when you reflect back on it, did it ever give you a shot at being wealthy or being that 1 out of 100 or in that 1% category? When you made that decision, did it give you a shot at that? Maybe it did, but let me be a little bit more likely. Probably not. And probably the money that we've spent most of the time were likely depreciable assets. Here's what I want to show you as an appreciable asset. The appreciable asset is something that over time grows in value. Now here's what I believe. I believe that these products in the CEO pack that you're seeing on the screen, these are important because Dr. Wallach himself hand-selected these particular items. Now, even though there might be thousands of products in our company, he selected these. And if you look at your screen, let me see if I can get my cursor to work, the upper left-hand corner, that's a product for energy. There's a product for your cellular health below that. Here's stick tubes of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in the other flavor called Citrus. Around the corner to the right, that's the Rebound product. That's what you take during or after exercise to replenish everything you sweat out. There's a product in here for weight loss, and now we've got a product in here for digestion that you don't see on your screen. It's called Root Beer Belly, and it is powerful. It's a probiotic, and it's like a pixie stick. It tastes delicious. And most importantly, in the center fold of your screen, you've got 2 sets of the 90 essential nutrients, one for you and one for your significant other or a good friend or you again the following month. And perched right in the middle in a canister is something called CM cream. This is great for hot spots, bones, joints, tendon areas, muscle areas, anything achy that's causing you discomfort. Dr. Wallach would tell you to rub that on, have it, supply you with 3 to 5 hours of relief while healing properties are going in and penetrating through your skin to go take care of business. Now, that's our CEO pack. Now, can you see why your health has to become a #1 investment? I heard a friend of mine say, the reason why we don't take health seriously is because we don't have a bill. And I sat there thinking about that, and I go, wow, that guy is right on the mark. We don't have a bill. We don't have to do anything. Nobody's making us do anything from one day to the next when it comes to our health. But I'll tell you who's making you do something, and it's your cell phone carrier. It's your utility carrier. It's your mortgage, lease, or rent. It's the people that carry your bills on your cars, just to name a few. Those are people that keep themselves right in the forefront of your mind every day, and you have to think about them. But your health, nope, you don't have to do it. Matter of fact, this guy went on to say, you can either pay now or you'll pay later. And Dr. Wallach says it's a lot better for you and I's quality of life, and it's a lot better for our financial well-being if we're proactive about it and do a little bit at a time. So this is what I did. I got myself a CEO pack. I've been using these products since the day we set foot in this company just a few years ago, and I've never been sorry, not one single time. It has literally changed the course of my life, and I told you there's a story behind that. Come find me someday, and I'll tell you the story. It has given me my life back. I could never say enough about what Dr. Wallach has done around these products, but there's a business side to this, and the reason there's a business side is because you and I need something in order to take the sweat off, keep the wolves away, and ultimately live the life of our wildest dreams. We need money. So we've taken this whole concept and we've monetized it. So once you have a CEO pack, first of all, why beyond the product itself do you want a CEO pack? Well, we're talking about something that, unlike where you spent $500 before, you spend $500 on your CEO pack, and that's the beginning of you having the right and the privilege and the honor and the call to action and duty to go out and create as big of a business as you can imagine. Now, in my mind, I imagined a multi-million-dollar business, which, OPS, by the way, that's happened. And I'm excited to tell you about that. A multi-million-dollar business is exciting to have. And where can you go on this planet and order something like a CEO pack with products that you need and turn it into a multi-million-dollar business? I don't know where you can go. That's why this fascinates me. It's a turnkey system, a turnkey business model with unlimited training. Have you ever heard of guys like Anthony Robbins, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, and the list goes on, of course? These people make a living by training you and giving you incredible information to go live your life well. And you know what? It is worth it, and it's very valuable. I'm actually a fan of all three of these people. However, what they don't give you when you walk out, other than great information to go to apply to something, is what you can apply it to. So we not only train you and teach you and mentor you and coach you, we actually give you a system that you can apply it to. We want to pay for your car. That's the Silver Mercedes Club. Wouldn't it be awesome to not have to make a car payment ever again? That's what happens when you've earned the Silver Mercedes Club. It's a simple system, and we'll teach you how to do it. Stock options, you want them. We're a pink sheet company today. Someday we won't be, in my opinion. And when that day comes, the stock isn't going to be worth pennies. It's going to be worth something potentially significantly more. And all I know is that we are a publicly traded company. You can follow us and track us. We've been around for 18 years with an unprecedented track record. Track record like how? Track record like an A+ scoring with the Better Business Bureau, like a 5A1 credit rating with the Dun & Bradstreet. We are like currently as I speak, we're one of the top 20 most fast-growing companies in the world, and we're in the top 100 globally for largest companies in our area or niche. That gives us something to talk about. Infinity bonuses, as we show you how to create volume and develop a team and grow your business, we don't leave money on the table. you get paid. If something's been done and business volume's been generated, you get to earn money. And for your $4.99, you're actually getting that in the value of products. Let's move on. This is an organizational chart, probably identical to your job. What's great about this is, metaphorically, I want you to imagine that this beautiful face on the right is you. And you've been tasked with the responsibility of putting a team together at your job and assembling different talents to accomplish different tasks. It might be HR, human resources, IT, information and technology. It might be social media. It might be marketing of sorts. Outside of that, you've got the responsibility now of showing up to work every day, punching a time clock, collecting your check, and overseeing these individuals. While the structure might look identical here, that's not how things work. So the structure is identical to your job. However, we have freedom. Remember, no bosses, no employees. Remember that list earlier? That's the luxury and the life we live. So here you are on the far right side of your screen. The reason why you got started with us, with a CEO pack, is because you have a dream. Something's churning inside your stomach, and it's saying, yes, you are worth it. Yes, you are valuable. Yes, you deserve the best that life has to offer, and you want to be as free as possible on your time as early in life as possible. Remember, I said acknowledge your age, add 2 years to it, and in my opinion, you following our simple system, that's the moment that you start recognizing that freedom is yours, that you, in fact, can have financial freedom. So we're going to do something similar to the job world. We're going to go tap. We're going to help you hand tap on the shoulder 4 individuals that all want more out of life. They have a dream too. They want to pay cash for college for their kids. They want to pay cash for their daughter's wedding that's upcoming in the future and not have to put the encumbrances or liability on her. They don't want student loans for their kids. They want to be debt-free and not be under the thumb of robbing Peter to pay Paul with one credit card to the next. They want to pay cash for their things instead of financing everything. That's who these people are. And they want to spend the best of their years for the rest of their years starting now. That's who these people are. So when we identify them, we show them the sensibility of the Youngevity system and building that legacy for themselves. They say yes. When they get a CEO pack, you earn the form of a couple different types of commission, the equivalent of somewhere between $550 to $600. And what does that mean? It means that you just put all the money back in your pocket and you are not out of pocket on your potential multi-million dollar business. That's what you've accomplished. So how long does that take? In my opinion, it takes as long as it takes you to go hand tap those people on the shoulder and introduce them to an expert in Youngevity that can explain what we're talking about right now. And probably a good idea is to let them watch this same webinar. It'll answer all their questions. It'll get to the bottom line for people. It will help them make sense of what hasn't made sense in the past so they can own their time. Here's our coding bonus. Notice there are 7 positions or titles or ranks, if you will, and what's associated here with each of those ranks is a number to the right-hand side, whether it's $15 all the way up to $190, depending on your rank. Once you've introduced the 4th person, that's why we show 4, once the 4th person has been given the same privilege and the same ability to own their freedom, just like you're being given now, that 4th person triggers the coding bonus. I love this coding bonus. This coding bonus makes me want to get up and dance, and I'm a horrible dancer, just ask Tom. So it makes me want to get up and dance. And I'm not embarrassed and I'm not ashamed, and that's why I'm willing to go dance, even though I'm not very good at it. But I'll tell you what, I'll look silly all day long if it means that my bank account can be enormous. So when it comes to these coding bonuses, just know this. When the 4th person is introduced with a CEO pack, you begin from that person and beyond the ability every time someone orders a CEO pack, and everyone gets one when they start, you can multiply however many people ordered CEO packs by one of these numbers on the right-hand side of your screen, and we pay that weekly. Okay, here, as we wrap things up, it starts to get exciting, and it makes so much sense. I've got an engineer friend of mine that is affiliated with a huge technology firm in Denver, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's really smart, like super smart, genius smart, and he's very analytical. He is like Mr. Researcher, Mr. I've got to know all the details, and you ask him what time it is, he wants to tell you how to build the watch. And he looked at this and said, oh my goodness, I've been in my good high-paying salary job for so many years. I've been praying for scholarships for my kids because I couldn't afford it. And now I have the privilege. He goes, I know math. And he goes, I've done the math on this, and this is right on the nose. It works just like this. Remember those 4 people earlier? So we're not going to use fancy titles like vice president and regional vice president and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to call them level 1, 2, 3, 4. Track with me for a second. This is when you definitely want to stick with me, because when you get this like my analytical engineer friend did, you're going to go like he did. Oh my goodness. Is it really that simple? And before we start this, let me say it's really that simple. It really works just like this. And all I'm suggesting to you is that there's 2 paths you could take. You can say, you know what, it's too good to be true to work like this, or you could say, it's so good, I'm thankful that it's that good, and I want good for once in my life. I want something to be extraordinarily good. Do you want something to be so bad that it's true? No. We want things to be so good that they're true. So let's not belittle the concept of something being so exciting that it couldn't possibly be true. That's glass half empty thinking. You've got to start thinking that there are good people and great things in this life that will present themselves to you. However, it doesn't matter if it presents itself to you if you're not open. So be open with me here as we conclude this. Here's those 4 people. And let's just say that instead of Walmart, Target, Sam's Club, Safeway, Albertsons, King Soopers, Trader Joe's, you name it, wherever you shop, Vitamin Cottage, and more, instead of those stores, you find out of all of the product niches we have, $150 a month to transfer into Youngevity. Instead of giving it to the wealthy store owner, let's start making you wealthy. So see this number in the upper right-hand corner? This is 150, and I'm going to use a round number. This could represent $140 to $175. So we're going to use the number 150 times 4 people transfer shopping after they order their CEO pack, and at 8% commission, that puts about $50 in your pocket residually while they're ordering. So you know what that says to me? It says it doesn't matter what that number on the right side of the screen is. It means it's a formula, and the formula works. And watch how well it works, because as we change the numbers, the formula stays the same, but the end result or the net out gets bigger. Check this out. You know what those 4 people want? They want their money back on their CEO pack just like you. And now they've switched where they shop, and those 4 people go each find 4, let's say. And those 4 people say, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. It's really that simple. I'll get a CEO pack and I'll switch where I shop. And when they do that, residually, it's an extra $190 to $200. And those 16 people do the same for the same reason. That puts another $600 or $700 in your pocket. Let me stop there. Let's add these numbers together. That's like $900, $900 to $1,000. You know what's great about that? The majority of bankruptcies last year in this nation could have been avoided if the household just had an extra $1,000 a month. As sad as that sounds, and as close to the finish line as they were, they didn't make it. And this could have solved the problem, not just in that moment. It could have solved a lot of problems moving forward for the rest of their life. But believe me, let's keep going here. How about another $2,300 when those individuals get 4? That's a total of roughly $3,200. How about another $9,200 for a total of roughly $12,500? Could you not start thinking that retirement and owning your time is just around the corner when you can begin to believe that we will help you create this? Let's keep going. How about another $49,000 a month? Add that to the $12,500. We're talking about $61,000 in a month. And I know it's hard sometimes to fathom that that could really be you. And the negative self-doubt talk will creep in and say, you're not worthy, you're not smart enough, you could never pull this off, it'll never work this well or that good. Hey, that's just stinking thinking. And that's the liars of this world making you out to believe that you don't deserve to be a 1%er. And I'm sitting here screaming the other direction with you saying, yes, they do. See, I'm screaming back at your negative naysayers. I'm yelling for you. I'm your megaphone going, yes, they do. And don't you dare insult them that way again. That's me. That's my job. That's what I do is I stick up for you and I help you believe enough in yourself, like Tom did for me, that I can do it too. And I'm so thankful that he never gave up on me or my wife, Juliet. Didn't give up on us. stood with us, held our hand, him and his wife Denise, and we have walked down this magical trail that I am forever grateful for, and it does work like this. And don't let everybody tell you, oh, that's just too good to be true. Listen, you can hang out with them and listen to their advice, and you'll get what they've got. Or you can listen to the advice of maybe Tom and I or other great leaders in this company, and what if we're right? That's the question you have to ask, is what if we're right? So that's the good news. That's our compensation structure. We've talked about all these ways that you get paid, whether I've pulled out the titles of the compensation or not. We've gone through this list here on your screen. Here's our car bonus that I talked about earlier. It starts at $300 and it goes to $1,000. My parents just leased a car just last week, and they got a really nice car for right at $300. And you can drive. So I'm here to say that with recent information, you can drive a really nice car, a new car for $300, and you can drive a couple of incredible cars for $1,000. Or you can drive a ridiculous car for $1,000. However you want to break it up, Youngevity gives you that money, and you can apply it in any which way, shape, or form to any portion of your transportation or any other portion of your life outside of transportation. Whether you spend it on transportation or not, I just want you to know that the company has thought enough about you to say, we want you to have every reason to drive something that you like, that you love, that you feel great about, that is safe and gets you from point A to point B in style. And we never want you to have to worry about that. That's our car bonus. How long will it take you to get the car bonus? The answer is, I don't know how long it will take you. I can tell you how long it took me, about 45 days. Now, I've helped and I've seen people do it in a couple of weeks. It took me about 45 days from beginning. And I was so thrilled the day that came in. Boy, did we need it. And I'll never forget the feeling getting that first car on Youngevity's dime just a couple of months down the road. So that's about how fast it could happen for you. But obviously, you and I need to have a conversation, and we'll show you exactly what's involved to get that car parked in your driveway. Here are all the ways that we say thank you. Why do we work so hard to tell people that we appreciate them? I should take the word work out of that. Why do we enjoy telling people so frequently that we love and care about them and appreciate them? It's because we will spend the rest of our lives in the general workforce of America only to be belittled, held back, and for lack of a better word, underappreciated. Here, we overappreciate people. If there is a way to say thank you, we do it. And we do it with great joy, and we know that everyone appreciates it. I know that I do, and you're probably not different than me. How about this? Technology, you're probably going, well, is this like a modern-day company? Oh, yeah. We're like hip, slick, and cool, all wrapped into one. We're talking like you can take your smartphone and download the latest app that we've got out for free, and you can run your entire business, and remember, program yourself this way. You're on the way to a multi-million-dollar business with your CEO pack and building the business in the structure that I just pointed out on previous pages with your smartphone. It works that simply. Here's all the benefits, and we're almost done. You get to live longer. We've got a proven business model. We talked about recognition and appreciation, all the training and support that you can imagine, and then there's more behind that. You get to be your own boss and not be under a dictatorship. Willable income, I love this. Just tell Youngevity in the event that you're not here someday, tell Youngevity where you want them to keep sending that check. That's what willable income means. How about unlimited income potential? How do you think it's possible that people in this company are making $100 a month, $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, and more? How is that possible? Because we have unlimited income ability. Vacation incentives, mark your calendars. In January, every January, we go on a cruise, and we want you there. We want you so there. I know you can taste it. You would love to go on a cruise with us. We have a great time, and we don't hold back, nor do we hold back on the expenses of these cruises. Come join us, and let's have some fun. Here's our management team. These people work so well together. They're like a fine-tuned oiled machine. They're helping us grow so fast all over the world, and they do more for you and I than we could ever put into an equation, and I'm thankful because they work long hours, and they do for you and I what needs to be done so that you and I can have the life of our wildest dreams and imagination right around the corner. Steve Follick, Bill Andrioli, Michelle Wallach, Mike Randolph, Patty Gardner, Britt Cloward, Sanjeev Javia. You can read their titles faster than I can say them to you. This is the core management team of our company. And that all equates to the success of what lies below their faces. See all those pictures at the bottom? I know it's small print, but let me read between the lines for you. Those people are happy. If you put a magnifying glass, they have big cheesy smiles because their name is on the front of a mock check. And in the pay to column with the amount section, it's got at least 7 figures in the amount section. How would you feel if you had lifetime earnings over not that many years of 7 figures and beyond? I know how you'd feel. You'd be ecstatic. You do backflips and flips and jumping jacks, and we're specialists at helping people be on their way to holding one of those checks. Look at this right here. This just makes my heart melt. Be the Change Foundation. We help multiple nonprofit organizations that we stand behind because we believe they're doing the right thing, and we want to be associated with not just the ones that we represent now, others yet to come as well, that we can support and feel proud knowing that what we're doing at Youngevity is making a difference in a myriad of ways. Youngevity does have it all. Products that everyone needs, no doubt. You don't need to explain our products. You're already using them in your home, in your house. You're just going to change where you're obtaining them from. It's called Youngevity. Global? Yes. This is not a backyard business. This is a global business. We're everywhere. You get to create your own economy instead of being a victim to the economy. And is it a great way to help others? Yes. Remember that formula? If you own your health, you own a lot. If you own your money, you own more. And when you own your health and you own your money, your physical health and your financial health equals you owning your time. Just like my friend that I had lunch today with, when I was explaining this formula to him, he just sat there like a deer in headlights. And you know what his response was? He goes, "Oh my goodness, you are so right. I never saw that before." And isn't it amazing that we can let life just totally speed by and we forget to recognize what's most important? Don't lose sight on what's most important. We're dealing with multi-billion-dollar markets that, just like me, you get to capitalize off of so that you can own the ultimate of your freedom. So recapping as we wind down, we've shown you our message. 90 for life is the core, the bullseye. Beyond that, we've shown you the outer portion of the entire target. We are targeting the multi-billion-dollar markets. We're an eclectic family of brands, and whatever we have, we're not stopping there. We are going to be bigger. We're going to be bolder. We're going to be broader, and I don't see any end to the light that's focused on this tunnel. We won't stop until we've provided everything imaginable through Youngevity to make your life convenient and profitable. And then we've shown you, in my opinion, the most impressive method for you creating financial wealth and security for you and your family that I've ever seen or laid eyes on in my life. And that's a bold statement, but it's a true statement. And the opportunity, no doubt, is now. Action today most certainly gives you the privilege to have success tomorrow. One thing is a no doubt. If you don't change something, nothing's ever going to change in your life. We've got to take action. And folks, here's the honest questions that need to be asked, and they've got to be considered. Right now, I want you to do this for yourself. Ask yourself this question. Are you happy with your current financial situation? Are you truly happy? Now, don't let your ego get in the way when you answer this question. Let's all agree to put that aside. Just take a deep breath and be totally honest and straight up with yourself. Are you happy with your financial situation and everything that is thrown at you right now? If the answer is no, or not quite, or not really, then I urge you, join us. Come play with us. Come work smart with us. The journey is incredible, and the destination is beyond rewardable. Let's not joke around with this. This is serious stuff, and right now you have the greatest path laid before you, and we will help you. I want to ask you another question, though. Do you have enough free time? Remember, the net out that we're looking for is time. Do you have enough of that free time to do the things that you really want to be doing with the people that you care about most? I'm going to just answer that question for you and just say probably not. Most people don't, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed by it. It's just the way that it works out. We all get stuck working hard. Let's just start working smarter. Let's free up our time, and let's start enjoying life together. How prepared are you ultimately for retirement? I got a friend of mine. I won't mention his name. I'll just tell you he is one of the most successful financial planners that I know in this country. He is very popular. A lot of people go to him, and a lot of people trust him and have confidence with their money. So he manages their money. He puts together portfolios and estate planning and insurances that fit the person. And here's what he recently told me. He said, Scott, the alarming thing about retirement is almost nobody lives comfortably in retirement. Everyone is constantly sacrificing and pulling back and doing without just to get by, and they panic. Once you're stuck on Social Security and limited income and small investments, 401ks and pension funds, nobody wants to touch the principal. Retirees are panic-stricken that the next egg will run out. But if you wanted the equivalent of $40,000 a year, you'd have to give this man $1 million of your money in your lifetime, let him invest it, and at 4%, you'd get $40,000 a year. That's like less than $4,000 a month. It's around $3,500 a month. That's not much. So you're going, well, I'll just give him more. So you do. You give him, let's say, another $1 million. You give him two. Well, now you'd be living on about $7,000 a month. And if you're going, well, boy, you know, that really doesn't pay the bills, and after taxes and buying airline tickets to Italy and all that, that just crimps our style. I know. Just give them another $1 million. You see, the point is nobody gives financial planners millions of dollars. And when you look at where you're at in your life and the track you're on, is it really feasible anyways that you could pull it off? How long would it take? My guess at best is many, many years, and life will pass you by. Listen, I like the equation that says, could you just add 2 years to your years right now? What's your age? Add 2 years, follow our system, follow our plan, lock arms with us, and let's go get busy. Where could you be with us? I don't know what the dollar amount is. What I do know is that you can be free. What I do know is you could own your time. What I do know is you could have the equivalent of residual income from this program coming into your bank account weekly and monthly that could possibly be the equivalent of having given that guy that I alluded to millions of your dollars, which is almost impossible to completely unlikely. This is a lot more possible and a lot more likely. So you decide now which plan makes the better sense. And keep in mind, I encourage you to continue doing your job, because it'll buy you the time from here to there to run your parallel course, your parallel process, exercising your exit strategy and this amazing plan B, and you get to come join us. And I want you to get your questions answered. And I know this isn't an open dialogue right now. Just know this. You can get with anybody you want to. You can call me. You can get a hold of Tom. You can get a hold of the person that invited you to watch this webinar. Get your questions answered. And don't hold back. If you've got a question, something you're concerned about, get it out, air it out, talk about it. If you're ecstatic and doing backflips, let's talk about that too, because we want you to do safe backflips. So starting with us is simple. You've got to be a product of our product. And with all the products that we have, we don't really care what you use. Just pick the things that you're already buying on the open market, switch where you shop, and secondly, get the CEO pack. Again, the CEO pack is the keys to the vault to unlock all of your income potential, all of your freedoms that are available through Youngevity, and it's how you start the business correctly. Set your goals. Dream a little bit. Pull out a piece of paper and ask yourself this question: why would I build my legacy the Youngevity way? Why would I build my legacy the Youngevity way? I don't know. But here's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it works, because I believe. Because I believe in America, and I believe in our freedom, and I believe in our abilities to all have access to time, not to be slaves. There's a lot of countries that actually don't give freedoms to their people the way that we do. And sometimes we act as if we live in those countries without any rights at all because we're scared to go exercise what it takes to experience freedom. Let's not be those people. Let's set some real goals, some scary goals, the goals that keep our eyes wide awake at night because we're just pumping with excitement. And we're thrilled to think that it's just a matter of time and we'll be living our wildest dreams. Those are the kind of goals that you want to set. Write it out. Answer the question, why will I build my legacy the Youngevity way? Answer the question, and you can be on your way. And remember, order your CEO pack. It'll take you literally 5 minutes. We ask simple questions, far less than what gets asked when you go apply for a job and the HR VP sits down and says, fill out this stack, and you've got to take it home and spend hours putting information together. We're talking 5 minutes. Risk, we don't have any significant risk. What will you risk? You're going to risk some of your time to build this. And you're going to risk the fact that you could be subject to negative stinking thinking out there. That's always at risk for all of us. So how do you keep from falling victim to that? You stay plugged into people that are on your side, not fighting against you, but working with you and for you. Does that make sense? I hope it does. That's the risk, however. And so we're going to help you win. We know how to do it. You're joining the right company at the right time, and you've got all the support that you need around you to go out and be wildly successful. I so very much thank you for your time. While you're watching these slides in front of you, this is just us knowing how to have a good time. The only thing missing from these pictures is your face with your friends and your family and people that you care about most being in here. And this lower right-hand picture here says it all. That's a bunch of people right there holding up an "Are You Next" sign that comes along with your car bonus. And these people in this picture are my friends. I'm looking through there right now, smiling because I recognize almost every face. And they're looking back at you and me right now, and notice they're smiling, and they're almost beckoning to you. They're pleading. The grass is great over here on this side of the fence. You should be with us here. And that question is powerful. Are you next? Are you next? We're not worried about somebody being next. We just want it to be you because we love you. We care about you. We believe in you. You've been asked to watch this webinar for the sole purpose and reason that somebody thought enough, cared enough, and was concerned enough about you that they reached out to you with generosity, with love and compassion and hope that you would want to be part of something that would allow you to come and play and enjoy life. Because let's face it, when you go to travel the ends of the world and you go do the activities that you love to do that recharge and restore your soul, don't you want to do it with the people that you care most about in your life? Of course you do. And that's who you are to the person that invited you to be on this webinar. Folks, it's been an absolute privilege to spend a little bit of time with you here. I thank you for listening long enough to go through this information. I know that all the joys in the world are right around the corner together, and we're going to partner up and grow to great lengths to make sure that you're part of it. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon on the summit of success. Go build your legacy.